You know, the OMI deal. When the OMI deal was signed, they asked, the royalty was 5%, right? The PPP, that was under oath, the PPP said that it was a giveaway. When they came to power, they reduced that 5% to 2.5%, right? So while you ask about regimes, the two regimes operate differently. While you may want to accuse, well, I've been here too, accuse the PNC of certain things that has been done, that look here, it's a giveaway. The PPP, when they came to power, the same things they condemn, they did worse. Oh my, the royalty was 5% on gold. And when they came to power, they moved it from 5 to 2.5, cut it by 50%.
We started this program on a sad note that we were sitting here a day after the death of 4 Lindeners, I think, 3 Lindeners who were shot by the police. In this half an hour, the gloom has become even greater. It seems like the death of a place and not just 4 persons. We'll take a break to recover and come back after the break.
Alcatel FM radio phone from GT&T.
Viewers, you're welcome back to this edition of Spotlight. Tonight we're discussing the Linden crisis, and we have with us 4 persons very close to Linden who are helping us in this discussion. In the first half of the program, we looked at the evolution of the question of rates, and in fact, the evolution of the state of Linden. We would like to turn now to look at more recent events, current events, the events of yesterday and today. What has led to this massive protest in Linden?
I think the genesis of this problem stems from the fact that you have a government that went forward at the reading of the budget and even before then in the preparation with an imposition on the people that spell hardship with regards to the social and economic development. And it was for that reason the people and representatives of the people wanted to have a discussion, dialogue with any responsible government to understand how did we arrive at this position and to understand the reality based on assessments, ripe assessments on the ground to say if the people can afford to deal with this imposition. What they were calling for and what we were calling for was dialogue.
This government is known to talk about the return to democracy. They're known to talk about inclusiveness and consultation. Are you saying that these things did not happen in Linden?
It did not happen to the extent when we spoke at the office of the president this afternoon. He was saying to us that this is not an issue that was now up for dialogue because it was discussed several years or decades before, even in 76, with then Prime Minister Forbes Barnum. But I said to him this afternoon, the fact that you are the president now, it is your responsibility and obligation to involve yourself in dialogue and discussion so that you can understand.
So you're saying to me the PPP is relying on and validating dialogue with Burnham, the man who they vilify?
Well, that is what they're saying. The position was taken by Mr. Burnham, and as such, that means the matter would have been properly and fully ventilated. And the position that was being advanced by the government is one would have been taken into consideration after all those dialogues in 76. So it need not merit further discussion with the people. But this is what would have mobilized and would have agitated persons to come out and to demonstrate their frustration that an imposition is being placed on them, and instead of coming to dialogue with the people so that they can understand the social and economic impact of this imposition, no such dialogue took place. No such advances were made to see how they can engage the people to understand these matters. Instead, what we got was a deafening silence from the president and from the government, and persons with a stubborn refusal to sit down and to reason with the people, the realities on the ground, so that you can understand the true impact of this imposition and to give careful consideration if it should go forward or not.
You're emphasizing reason with the people, reason with the people. Are you saying that what's happening in Linden is bottom up? The people themselves are the ones on the move?
Let me say this. I could recall we've held over 40 meetings with the principal stakeholder who are the people in different communities right across the region, not just Linden, across the region. We've held several stakeholder forums from the religious community to the business community to the pensioners to all stakeholders. We have had absolutely no dissenting voice on this matter. In fact, it's minuted in the chambers discussions. They were the ones who called these stakeholder meetings. There was no segment within Linden that dissented with regards to the impact that such an imposition will have on the economy and on the social fabric of the people of Linden. But nevertheless, we are being told that we have to buy into this when every single voice within Linden is saying that this is unsustainable, it is unjustifiable, it will not work. So it is a people's struggle. In fact, the politicians were asked to support the struggle, not to move the struggle, but to support the struggle because the people of Linden would have accepted fully that this is a fight that they have to put forward before the rest of the country, as it is their struggle.
So this is not about the APNU versus the PPP.
We've had persons in both in all the political parties, like I said, all spectrum of the community. I said before, absolutely no dissenting voice on this. So I can't understand for what reason then a responsible government would not want to talk to all the people of Linden and region.
Prior to this, there were various occasions when delegations came to Georgetown and were involved in manifestations on this matter. You say even after those manifestations, there was no response?
There was absolutely no response. And we made that quite clear this afternoon at the office of the president that this is what kept the people and allowed them to be mobilized. And is at the moment as we speak, thousands of people are still on the streets in Linden. And they will not remove from off the streets for the fact that they have to have somebody with some level of responsible thinking to come before them and sit with them to understand the impact of what is being imposed upon them.
There was even no government, even after the shooting, everything last night, no one from the government came or went to Linden. No one, no representative.
But you know, sorry,
go ahead.
You know, if Guyana was a law-abiding country, the officer in charge of Linden would be charged for murder. Here's a case where you have unarmed people. They can't accuse the people of Linden of having guns. But these unarmed people, you open fire on them with live rounds, killing people. Now the officer
So did they come to this protest with live rounds from the inception?
Let me tell you this. With regards to the matter, we've put forward at the office of the president this afternoon, though the electricity is the genesis of what took place, that our immediate concern right now is that they must have an immediate cessation of aggression against the people of Linden, because as we speak right now, police have warned protesters, persons, demonstrators on the street, that it's going to be worse. This is the statement coming out from my counselors. It's going to be worse than the 18th of July should persons remain where they are on the streets right now. So there is a clear understanding that what was delivered to the people of Linden in that massacre that took place last night was not in itself the end of what is to come, but their continued involvement of aggression. So we ask the three questions: that there must be a cessation of aggression, there must be a probe, an inquiry with international understanding attached to it, and to also have the immediate removal and suspension of the commander in charge of the unit.
Are you still there?
Yes.
In fact, We tried to get a commitment from the president for
Yes.
his removal, and he said this will be considered in 24 hours. You imagine persons would have lost lives. We are 5 reported dead, 3 confirmed. And we still have a commander. In fact, we have persons, activists, who've indicated to us that they were threatened. Their lives were threatened. We have persons who said that the commander himself was driving past their homes and scoping them out the night before. We've had persons who have said to us that he said he's going to kill them. And lo and behold, persons lost their lives. And this man is still on the job.
And people reported that he said, don't forget I was at Lindo Creek. People reported that. Now,
This is a country where people are charged for perjury and treason for making recorded statements, and you're saying that there is physical evidence of this man saying these things?
In fact, there is reports, and this is why it's so important to have an inquiry with that type of flair, because we want to ensure the truth of this matter comes out. Persons have reported that the live rungs that were used, in fact, the nurses have confirmed to us at the Linden Hospital Complex that they've removed live rungs from dead bodies. The aggression that the police claim that the protesters attacked them